Why Mixer? That's a good question.
Why not Mixer?
This is not just a place to stream. This is a family. It is a home.
And it also means acceptance and support.
Mixer is an amazing, amazing place. It allows me to be who I am.
No matter where I go on Mixer, I feel welcome.
We get along really well. We click really well.
Everybody I am friends with that I've met through Mixer, we're all supportive of one another.
From the first day I started, I just fell in love with the community instantly.
I think we all help each other out.
This sense of, I don't care who you are, I don't care how new you are, if you're a streamer and you want to belong somewhere and you want to make good content, you can do it here, and we want you here.
Mixer community means kindness and encouragement to me, especially when it feels like it's more and more difficult to find that on the internet.
Having this amazing platform with such a great community to stream to and be a part of, it means everything.
That's why Mixer.
Hey guys, and welcome to this week's Microsoft Studios live show. This week, as if you can tell, we're going to play some little bit of Killer Instinct, and I promised some killer guests, and I don't think I disappointed. These gentlemen are probably some of the most knowledgeable with Killer Instinct, and I'm joined by James Goddard and Ken Lobb.
Hello, everyone.
So, what do you guys think? Happy to be here, excited to talk KI, what?
Yeah, always happy to talk about Killer Instinct.
And it's been a while, and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We've got some fun stuff to discuss.
So when I started my job here, and I don't think I ever told you this, but I was hired to work with Killer Instinct and Crackdown, and my first day, Ricari was like, what am I going to do with you? Because we don't really have, okay, here, take all this stuff to get it signed by Ken. So I took all the stuff and went to my office, and I sat down, and I was like, Ken, really? Wait, so I go back to Ricari, and I'm like, when you say Ken, you don't mean that Ken Lobb, right? He's like, yeah, it's Ken, he's right down the hall. And I was like, oh, like the biggest fangirl moment. So I kind of walked up. I was like super shy. I had this box of, Shadow Jago or something and a Sharpie. And I was like, please, sir, do you mind? So now I'll just, drop stuff on your desk.
Always happy. Swag is fun. I like my collection of swag as much as anybody else does.
We've got some pretty cool stuff. So so let's talk, KI in general. How did you guys get started with the franchise or fighting games or, obviously Ken may have just a little history with KI,
Yeah, so there's a way back story that we'll save for later.
Okay.
But Killer Instinct started actually when I first started at Nintendo, which is about 25 years ago next week. So really about 25 years ago, a month and a half in the future from now. I went on a trip to the UK. I got to meet Mr. Arakawa, Mr. Takeda, and the very first thing we did was meet Tim and Chris Stamper, and they showed us Donkey Kong Country. So that led very quickly after I got back to a trip to Rare. I had to figure out what hardware and software they would need. So go spend a bunch of money on Silicon Graphics hardware and Power Animator, which is now Alias software.
Okay.
Which, turned into Maya.
Right.
Hence Maya, the character. It's why Maya, the character, is named Maya, is because of our relationship with Alias. In that trip, they pitched the second game they wanted to use their, advanced computer modeling graphics on, ACM, if you remember bad marketing terms from Nintendo. and that was a fighting game called Brute Force, and it was kind of Mortal Kombat. And I'd been playing a very large amount of Street Fighter, most of the SNK games. I'm a big fan of King of Fighters and Fatal Fury and all of those. So I had some ideas of what I thought a fighting game might become. And suddenly there's a team with incredible horsepower working on something. So we sat down on that first trip, talked about some ideas around. At the time, all I had was kind of, hey, you should be able to start a combo with this thing called an opener and the open auto double and finisher. And one of the things that I was thinking a lot about at the time was, especially as combos were getting longer in some of the SNK games, that what the person getting beat up, maybe that'll be me later with James pretty good. All you can do is watch.
I'm waiting.
You feel like, well, I'm not really part of this. I'm just watching while someone does a bunch of hits on maybe combo breaker. And sadly, that name was a rare name. I thought they should be called Combo Stoppers. It's a pretty bad name. I'm glad that my good friends at Rare. But I did have the Ultra Combo name in that very first conversation. This idea that, hey, there's these fatalities going on in Mortal Kombat, and we had the idea. Rare had the idea for doing, what became the finish moves, but. I wanted, I like doing combos. What about really big combos? What about ultra combos, And that literally in the first trip to Rare, all that stuff was laid out. We walked through on a whiteboard exactly the way I thought it would work. Blah, blah, blah. Lots of stories on the internet about what happened over the next year and a half. But that's sort of where Killer Instinct started. It was in my love for Street Fighter, King of Fighters, etc.
So you've always been you've always been like fighting games, okay?
Oh, yeah, since very early. Again, I think we can talk about that more over time.
How about you? How did you get involved with KI?
With KI, well...
'Cause I know you also have some fighting game history and have worked on other fighters and stuff like that, so...
Right, so when I joined Microsoft, I joined to work on the combat on Rise, Son of Rome, and...
Hugely underrated game, by the way. If you haven't played it, play it. It's probably the prettiest game I've seen on an Xbox.
Play it on hard.
Yes. And so, the team came to me and said, hey, you worked with people from Double Helix, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I was at the Collective before they became Double Helix. I know most of the people there. And what's up? And they're like, well, talking about Killer Instinct with them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Let me tell you about this engine. Because the engine that we had built for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I was the co-team lead of and lead combat designer for, we built that whole scripting language with fighting and combat in mind based on all my previous experience on different games like Street Fighter, Weapon Lord, 10th Degree, which never got released.
So had you played KI before, though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I played it in the arcades.
Sure.
I know, I knew Ken worked on it, and a friend of mine bought a Killer Instinct 2 machine. I mean, but yeah, so while I was working on Rise Son of Rome, I was consulting in the background when we kicked off KI. And then when, unfortunately, Double Helix, we lost Double Helix as our developer, and it went to Iron Galaxy. I became the design director. And so I have some history with the engine, and I have history with the original team, and then, I did a whole bunch of work on the next couple seasons with the, amazing Iron Galaxy team, and both developers just fantastic. So that's kind of my KI story. Plus, I played a lot, and I got beaten a lot. I was not very good at the original series. I'm okay at this one. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, as I've noticed in chat, some of you have brought up that James is wearing the shirt from Combo Breaker this year. So, speaking of tournaments, we've actually pulled a couple clips. I think 3 from each one. 3 from Combo Breaker CEO and PCK's online tournament. And they're short clips, probably about a minute or so long. And we're just gonna go ahead and talk about them, and just kind of because I know there are people in chat that have never played KI, might not understand why something is so cool. Like, why was that so exciting? So maybe kind of cool just to give a quick overview of that. But before we get into that, we've got a quick highlight reel from Combo Breaker. So we're going to go ahead and watch that. So stick around, watch that. And when we come back, we're going to start some game clips.
Yep.
All right, so that was the highlight reel from Combo Breaker. So before we get into that really quick, we kind of want to know a little bit. So you alluded that you and Ken have known each other for quite a while. How exactly did that come about? How did you meet? Because obviously there's some history there, so I'm curious, because I'm sure other people would also like to know.
The original FGC.
So way back when.
Yep.
Okay.
Way back when.
Way back. Okay.
So again,
before the internet.
Yeah. Well, you could kind of go to certain parts of the internet at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, I started at Nintendo in '93, but prior to that, I started making games in '88, and almost immediately started going to Japan. And in 1991, I went to Namco. And what was interesting about Namco is Namco makes arcade games, and I was a huge arcade player all the way back to 1979.
What's your favorite arcade game?
Robotron.
Okay, easy answer.
By miles. I love fighting games, but it's sort of the Robotron and Defender. I was exceptionally good, kind of like FGC quality good. I could play both games until I fell asleep, literally.
All right.
But different story for a different day. But because I was working at Namco, I was traveling all over the world to arcade shows. I went to arcade shows in Japan, in America, in Europe. It was work. Hey, I need to go into this arcade show where everything is free and no one is there. Some people are there to compete with. So I was lucky enough, actually, to be at the arcade show. I think it was AOU 91, end of 91 or early 92, when Street Fighter II debuted in Japan at an arcade show. That show, there were a lot of people there. There were thousands of people mobbed at this part of the show floor, and it's kind of like, what's behind that? And kind of peek over the crowd and see Street Fighter II. I had no chance to play it at that show. But 3 or 4 weeks later, I was at an arcade show in Vegas, and they had rows of Street Fighter IIs set up to play, and I was able to spend research time, maybe most of 3 days. I looked at all the other games for about 10 minutes, and me and a friend of mine from Namco kept going back to Street Fighter over and over and over again. This was before it was on location test. So a month or two later, it's summer, I think it's summer 92. My good friend, Mr. Goddard, will be able to help reset my calendar on that. Anyway, I was a regular arcade player, like I said, and about a mile from where I lived, Sunnyvale Golfland. I was there all the time. And part of the reason was I love arcade games and it was close. But the other reason was that a lot of the big arcade companies were doing location tests there. Namco tended to do them in San Francisco because they had their own arcade on Pier 39, but Capcom location tested at Sunnyvale Golfland. And I was there like 2 days. I think I didn't get there the first day. I was there like the second day that Street Fighter II was on location test. Well, I'd already played it a couple shows for 30 or 40 hours. So being able to drop in and kind of do good at Sunnyvale Golfland for a while, I meet this random dude, happens to work at Capcom, him, and now James can take over the story of way back when in Sunnyvale Golfland.
Yep. And so we're playing, and it's like we're just having a good time, and I'm sure you were playing Kenaroo, and I was probably playing Zangief, and we had some good exchanges.
Blanca.
Oh yeah,
little
Blanca,
bit of Rue, but Ken.
That's right.
Ken and Blanca. Anyway, I think neither of us knew who we were. Right?
No.
This is just lined up. I was hair, T-shirts.
Yeah.
I didn't look
Curly
like
mullet
I'm a game
over
industry
here.
person. I'm just dude playing Sunnyvale Golfland.
And we're both shy, and we had a hard time just talking as we were playing.
Hold on. Shy?
We never talked to anybody.
We were like sitting there real quiet playing.
Oh, yeah,
and then,
sure.
And then one of us threw each other a bunch, and someone said, "That's cheap." And then the ice was broken, and we just started talking. And then it's like, "Oh, you work at Namco? Shit, I work at Capcom. Shoot, I work at Capcom."
Yeah,
And,
really weird. The throwing is cheap thing, which it's another piece of interesting back history. There were no throwing in Killer Instinct in the first arcade game. And there was a reason. Part of that reason was throwing was sort of banned at Sunnyvale Golfland. I mean, people would do it, but it was banned. So there was this weird
I saw a chair
FGC
thrown,
thing.
a stool thrown.
Yeah, especially
overthrowing.
the guile cheap knee tick throws. Those were So you kind of had to learn to play legit, is the way I thought of it at the time. So when we were started talking about Killer Instinct 1 and, hey, you should have throws. No, throws are bad. Maybe it was a miseducation at the time. I love them now. They're my good friend right over here. And, throw, reversal. It's obviously a big part of the game and of KI ever since Season 1 or even in KI 2 Arcade, although it wasn't quite as refined as where throwing has gotten today. But that community, this small community of people that really, really cared about fighting games, just started to grow right at the beginning with Street Fighter at Sunnyvale Golfland. And I played there for years. I got in a couple of the tournaments, just got crushed. But so a lot of the fun I had going there was just getting to play with some of these people that I'd see play on I think it was Wednesday night tournaments or something like that for a while. I'd go watch those. There were a couple bigger tournaments that would bounce between, it was Milpitas where the other Golfland was, which funny enough was close to a company I had before I got, a company I worked for before I got in the game industry was in Fremont. And so I'd get over to that Golfland a couple times when I worked over there. So it felt familiar when I heard there was competition at the Milpitas Golfland, so I'd cruise over there. But my home base was Sunnyvale Golfland. It was funny, when I moved up to come to Nintendo, I had regrets. I liked the Bay Area. I liked going to Santa Cruz. I liked my wife's family are there. I mean, a lot of friends were there. But funny enough, the thing that kind of got me in the stomach was I was leaving Sunnyvale Golfland. And every time we'd go back there, including I was there about 4 months ago, we drive by, go to Sunnyvale Golfland. There's a whole lot of ticket redemption machines now. But they still have a row of, here's where the beloved people get to play the great games from, both the past and current times, because current arcade fighting games are still alive and well at Sunnyvale Golfland.
Yeah, I was there all the time. My apartment was literally a block from there. I bought a house maybe 3/4 of a mile from there. And that's why we kept bumping into each other and eventually led me going to Namco.
Yep.
I
hired him.
So you're just following Ken around. You're just kind of stalking him as you go.
Yeah, I wish I would have followed him a little closer, for longer. But yeah, it's just that sense of community that was there was small, but again, I joke it's before the internet or before it was easy for everybody to access it, but there was pockets all around the country, and I would travel with Capcom, and I would ditch all the sales and marketing guys and go find local arcades, and they would have their own, what we call their own technology, and it'd be like, oh, have you ever seen a walking pile driver before? Voodoo! And so, that community was really cool, and the tournaments that you're talking about, I ran a lot of the Capcom-sponsored tournaments. In fact, I did the first... Street Fighter 2, it's supposed to be national, was California-wide tournament where we gave away arcade machine and a Super Nintendo with the Street Fighter 2 copy. And so that community is like really key. And so it's just amazing how, decades later, how big the FGC is and how strong the community is. And now we have social media where we can be really vocal and make sure that you're heard, and of course, we listen really closely too, as much as we can. So
Obviously a common theme here is that it's a community. So it's a family of sorts. So obviously, you want to be respectful to everybody. You want everybody to feel included and be nice and just kind of build the community rather than let's throw stones at it and knock the wall down. That doesn't help anyone. So everything that you guys are going to see in these clips and everything is all thanks to the tournament organizers, the stream moderators, the streams that are hosting it. Shout out to Team Spooky for being awesome on that. Anybody hosting tournaments, Pharaoh, good. He does all the weekly KI tournaments that we are providing support for.
That's right.
CEO,
Combo Breaker, everybody.
I love it. Again, I watch all the time, and it's funny because it's sort of replaced I don't have a Sunnyvale Golfland. I can't walk to an arcade and see a local arcade scene, but I can always push a button. I can always watch, especially when we get into tournament season. There's good fights happening every weekend, and I can kick back for a few minutes and watch, even on my phone. I mean, it's awesome where we live today, and I really respect, all the hard work that everybody does. And I'd reiterate the same thing of, you go to Sunnyvale Golfland. It was in a good neighborhood, but it was, it's an arcade. It's an arcade in the, at the time, some people would have considered that not the perfect safe place. And yet everybody there was super tight. It was just a tight group of people that loved fighting games. And we'd go, cruise over to Milpitas, and there was this cool little inner Golfland rivalries, but at the same time, everybody knew that they were there together because they loved something.
And we can't forget the players and the competitors.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be a game or, we wouldn't even be able to have any of that without all the people that are still super hardcore into KI, and that's incredible to me.
And once in a while, as a family, we're going to disagree and we're going to have arguments and, we wanted to remind everybody that, we're doing this Ultra Tour and we're trying to sponsor the events that we believe in that have similar values. It's a fun, safe, family-friendly place to be. They have great rules for the players. It just comes down to respecting all of those things and working together to make sure that we're on the same page. Because, if we start trying to bully each other or, we're not working correctly on the rules, it just starts falling apart. So that's why I'm really proud of how Ultra Tour has been going. Yep. And let's keep it that way. Let's keep talking to each other. Let's
just have fun.
Exactly.
Just be a great family and keep it positive. All right. That's all we can do. And then we'll keep having more fun stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So, in light of all that, and like I said, thanks to everybody that made all this possible, let's go ahead and watch our first clip.
Yes.
I don't remember what order I put it in, but we're gonna find out. Can we watch the first one? There we go.
Here. Yeah, and he's gonna lose all that life because of it. Mirror Instinct really great at helping her get that life back.
You're gonna probably see him go a little crazy with some specials right now.
Yeah, he's gonna regain that health as he gets the mist out there, so that's one thing to watch out for him. Shadow for the lockdown, doesn't go in behind it.
Sonic Dolphin sitting on 2 bars a meter. He can get a dragon kick in there, that's gonna hurt.
What's scary is that this is a one-hit game still. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is a one-hit game 100% of the time. The Firecracker using the dragon, looked for the counter breaker, couldn't find it. That's huge. He was in danger, he could have just went for the end. Oh, he got him locked out. He doesn't have bar. He doesn't have bar? Oh, he went for the reset. Oh my god, he would have killed him if he got it afterwards, but look at the potential life up there. Goes for the dragon kick at the same time.
Is he gonna get a grab in there?
Oh, he went for it.
He goes for the dragon kick. Is he gonna get it?
He's got the juggle. He died. He had 80% life.
Right here.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
All right. So what you guys just saw was Circa Nikki versus Sonic Dolphin, and that was Amira versus Kim Woo at Combo Breaker. That was in Combo Breaker 2018. So, what do you guys think?
So I'll start. I mean, we obviously pre-watched, and in fact,
Yes,
I watched
we
this.
did watch
I
all
watched
these.
this live, and then all these little clips were coming around of, hey, we're going to show some of these. What do you think? And I think one of the things that, rather than break down individual moves that are going on, especially in this first,
That was crazy, by the way. You guys are insane. That was incredible.
A general theme of what we're seeing, both in many different fights, and I'm sure a lot of you have watched them, as well as some of the clips we're showing today, is the hype. You know, what happens when a match is almost over? And to be honest, it's one of my flaws. I think I'm pretty good. You know, round one, bring it. When we're even, you know, I'm okay. But as soon as I get near winning, it's like heart starts pounding. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. All I got to do is get him one more hit. And watching the whole second life bar down, he's taking notes. Actually, I'm always calm. I maintain. But that ability to build a game, and it's obviously not completely intentional, but partially intentional in design, is what happens with comebacks. Some of that is around the way you can store up. You know, I'm going to store up my meters, and then I'm going to expend them at the end as a comeback mechanic. I'm going to risk counter breakers. You know, you see that happening here where people are coming into the end. You know you're going to lose. A lot of people, especially in tournaments, won't do counter breakers. They'll just hang back. Part of it is they're trying to, you know, download was a super cool thing I heard during one of the tournaments years ago. Basically learn what the other player is doing, when they do it, how they do it. And once you get a feeling, rather than, you know, guess breaking or guess counter breaking, doing it when you know something in particular is going to happen. When the game gets close to the end, all bets are out the window. And you're like, I need to try and break this or I'm going to lose. Or I need to do a counter here so I can get long combo, get him to soak a bunch of damage. I think it's one of the things I love the most about Killer Instinct is the way that played out, especially amongst expert players.
Well, we try to put into the DNA of well, you always had it, but especially the reboot, and lots of discussions with both developers as we grew this thing. In the DNA level is the poker game. You know, there's a counter to a counter to a counter. What are you going to do? Are you going to bluff? Are you going to counter break? And then lots of comeback mechanics, and even in the characters themselves, 29 characters, very different play styles. And Mirror is a glass cannon, and that's where that just unfortunately didn't work out. And from the get-go, like, a glass cannon? Are you crazy, Adam Hart? But it works, and when you see Mirror work, oh my God. And in this case, a lot of damage got given up during that.
So speaking of Mirror, just to quickly, like, for those of you that aren't familiar with the game, Mira, as she does damage, loses her own health.
As she uses moves, she converts her health into basically she could lose it.
Yes.
It's that silver.
So she can
silver
essentially
health.
kill herself.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
almost like potential damage.
Right. Yes,
So she
but
needs
on
to
yourself.
She needs to feed to get that converted back
Right.
to her health. And in that case, you saw
So it's
a
a
bunch
high-
of moves used
it
that
could
drained
be
a bunch of that.
High risk, high reward
It's
kind
super
of
high.
type thing.
That is the whole point.
All right.
And that's what the combat team thought of, and boy, does it work.
So, and you guys
Both
just saw a really great Kim Woo from Sonic Dolphin. Incredible. So, you guys want to move on to the next
Yep,
one?
let's do
All
the
right,
next
let's go on clip number 2. I had an order for these, and I kind of forget, so we're going to wait till we see it.
The character, that's just how he works. Full wrath gauge here.
And to think, it used to be even trickier back
Yeah, for sure. Oh, wakes up with the tremor. Oh, floats down on him. Doesn't get the recapture.
no.
Gets it that time. Locked out. 2 shadow bars on this. Spin that catch.
Devil May
That
Cry,
big damage.
he has instinct at least.
If it
Let's
hits
see
from
what he can
behind
do.
Isaac, okay. Takes that power line. It's a wall splat if you don't cancel out of it. And just jump, escape off the wall. I have no idea why she's so mobile. Shadow Possession doesn't work out, but the punish anyway, that could be an ultra. It is. He had so much time to confirm it. 1 chance.
And goes from behind. He avoids the destruction. Oh, he ends up getting hit with the oh, no, I can't speak.
I can't either. He's getting the mix-up cash.
He's gonna get
out. He's dead. All right.
All right.
One
now he has to
opportunity.
do that like 3 more times.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Storm, who was playing as Hisako. And quick note for those of you that don't know, Storm showed up to Combo Breaker and CEO from Singapore. Long trip for him. And that was Devil May Cry playing as everybody's favorite TJ combo. So, what do you think?
Well, I want to know what happened next. I think I know, but watching the clip is still like, oh man, it's really mean. We cut it off right there. But this is another example of just KI can be wild sometimes. I mean, look at that.
Right, 'cause you
TJ's
thought-
dead, but of course he has last breath. He gets up, and then what? He gets that first life bar. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, when I was originally watching, and I remember watching the match, it was like, oh, well, Storm's got a huge advantage over this guy. Like, come on. And then TJ Combo just kind of puts on, ate his Wheaties in the morning and went ham.
Yeah, that move in particular was pulled originally in Killer Instinct 2. Jago could do a move where he'd sacrifice life and then come back at the end with a second breath. And Jago just kind of has a good arsenal. So rather than take away his slide, take away last breath, and then put those into other characters, whether it's Shago or Eagle with their slides, or in this case with TJ doing his last breath. You can obviously stop it with an ultra, but it ends up causing scenarios like this. When I end up fighting with TJ, it's not like I forget, but you still get that sort of momentary, yes, I'm gonna, oh crap, he's gonna pop, and then run away. Again, I think it's nice. It goes to what James was saying earlier about adding some massive variety to the way the characters fight. Also the whole combo string system for TJ Combo is unique among characters for Cav, something that James came up with. And I remember their early conversations about it. It was like, you want to what? Oh, that sounds
auto barrage. Let's go.
That. It's like I sort of understand, and then once it was prototyped, it's like, oh, that's rad.
We prototyped it on Jago. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like
of course,
Jago
I'm
needs
like,
more.
Jago's awesome. You should have this. No, okay, you shouldn't have that. Don't mess with Jago.
Yeah.
Again, I was pretty heavily involved, obviously, in KI1 and 2 Arcade. Helped Adam a bunch with Season 1. Season 2 and 3, I was just sort of come around. They'd build cool stuff, and I love playing. So it'd be like, hey, we're doing this thing. Come look. I'd always start with, that's different. And, of course, like always, start building on the character and get, shall we say, confused at first and then see the opportunities. And then for me, the real beauty was watching tournaments and then seeing this stuff land. It's like, okay, now I really understand what you were going from.
All right. So want to roll on to the next one?
Yeah.
While we're waiting for that one to load up, just so you know, Hisako is Ken's favorite person to play against. Who is your favorite person to play against?
Anybody except Hisako.
All right, that's fair. All right, let's go to
Maybe a little Sadira is near. I figured out Sadira about a few months after she shipped. When she first came out, I'm like, I have no idea what to do against this character. And some of that is just the pairings, right? She's strong against Jago.
All right. Let's go ahead and watch the third one. This is also going to be from Combo Break.
Oh, absolutely.
Keep your eyes peeled. That's an arrow already. 2 of them shots sets it up. Oh yeah, those arrows. You gotta watch out. The late cancel, he's got slide. Yeah, gonna end the combo, take that knockdown, mix up. You know the cling is coming to the other side. What are you gonna do? Each hit of that Screech is an individual, like there's a gap in there. So you can get mixed up between every single one. Oh yeah, uses that explosion.
Minty has an option for everything.
Every single scenario. Yeah, walks forward, takes that forward medium punch. Shooting the arrows here. He's got 3 arrows left, uses the Screech, and there it is, the stagger off that right into the slide. And he's gonna use the Shadow to actually bring back all the arrows. Full quiver.
All right, so that was from the winners final at Combo Breaker 18, where it was Amenti versus Hollywood Sleep. And if you played along, Amenti won. If not, spoilers, sorry. And what we got to see in those finals, I think Amenti rolled his Eagle for all the matches against Hollywood, I think. And Eagle was one of the last characters added to Killer Instinct. And we actually had some of the Nez Perce tribe brought into the studios to do some of the recordings, right? Some of the voices, some of the voiceovers and sounds and everything, right?
Collaborated on the design also, aspects of the design. We wanted to make sure we had a lot of the culture right. We talked about a lot of weapons, like the bone whip he has on his hip that he uses on a couple of moves. We talked about the fact that even his story of being more of a spiritual kind of tech, almost like tech, walker, able to just interface with tech is very different than what you'd expect. But we collaborated on all of that stuff, and it was an amazing result and relationship.
So I think I think they did some of the recordings, like they had some of them in one of the conference rooms down by where I used to work down on support. Because they were doing like some of the war cries, and we could hear them from our. So we were like.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Okay,
I was
a thing.
going again, time machine. Little tiny closet in a rare barn, which is what they used to call their little dev studios at the Manor Farmhouse in lovely Twycross. I was Chief Thunder. Tomahawk. And in the first season, we decided, okay, we're going to redo Thunder, and we should redo Thunder in a way that's far more respectful to just the culture in general. Our good friends at Double Helix reached out originally to the Nez Perce and met some of the tribal leaders. And although they didn't do the recording, I was honored to once again do the recording for season 1. Thunder's Wako Imaya Tomowit. And again, I don't remember what that means, but it was sort of cool the way they did it. They gave me phrasings, they gave me a recording of what it should sound like, but that still didn't seem cool enough for Eagle. And after several trips to go visit the tribe, we were able to, they offered to come, not just help, consult. As you said, we have backstory, we have things that are meaningful to their culture. They also offered to do the voiceover. And so when you're playing as Eagle, you're actually hearing their voice, you're hearing their song in the chants. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's just amazing the work that was done there. And also we updated Thunder's costume in collaboration with them also for the special version that we released around the same time. And then regarding the Eagle play, I mean, what's really cool about what we just saw and the fact that Amenti would go on to win is I think people were just shocked at how tough it was to fight Eagle.
Yeah.
Because that kind of came out of nowhere. Like maybe some people don't know, but that's like what I love about fighting games when it's like, and here's this character that turns out can just win.
So that's
if you don't know what to do.
That's actually one of my favorite things about watching like the KI tournaments specifically is that, even watching like the pool play, the brackets, like going through everything, I have seen so much of the roster used that it almost seems like anybody is viable. Granted, like Ken said earlier, there are, sometimes a Jago versus Sadira is kind of rough, but there are people that are like, I think I saw pretty much everybody on the roster used at some point, which to me is really cool because like you'll look at some other games like, oh no, we're only going to play like these 4 characters because these are the ones that are the best. But like, I mean, like Amenti proved, Eagle is really good against, he can hold his own.
Yeah, I think the matchups, one of the best things the team did was consciously doing matchup pairings that were offset, but not to an extent that any one character is dominant. And you ended up clearly without the tier system that you see in a lot of fighting games where you're either going to play a top tier character or you need to be orders of magnitude better than the people you're playing against. Where in KI, there are these pairings of, hey, you want to deal with somebody that's using Jago again as an example, then get someone who's anti rushdown. And it's one of the things that's interesting about Eagle, because he can sit there and pound you. You know, if you're up close trying footsies, you know, good luck. If you're far away, he's going to sit there and whittle on you, so you can't really jump away and play a projectile game. But if you can keep away with his arrows, then suddenly he's not as strong. So a lot of what Menti was doing, you watch through the fight, again, all the fights I was watching of his Eagle, it's the most interesting thing was his management of how many arrows he had left in inventory. I thought that was the part that was like, okay, here's why he's doing better than I think some of the other characters that I've watched doing Eagle. They either flush or they hold them too much. It's definitely an interesting character that when it first came, I'm like, well, that's a little OP. And then once I figured out how to play keep away with their arrows, it's like, okay, I got this. And then suddenly I played against I forgot who it was, one of the people on the team showed me how to properly use Eagle by crushing me over and over again.
All right.
I just want to comment on there also that the combat team, you know, did a great job, always has, of predicting emergent gameplay. And in this case, you know, when Adam Hart's combat team was talking about how the Eagle Scream is going to protect against counter breakers and things like that. I mean, at the time, I know in the meeting, I'll admit my eyebrow probably raised and went, I don't know, man, that sounds too good. You know, but the fact that it took that long to really see that kind of protection by the Eagle and used that way, that's what was just made it super devastating on that particular event.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's roll into some CEO clips. All right, let's go ahead and roll the first CEO clip. So I think this time... I think this is going to be the Z-Train over 9000, who, by the way, came out of nowhere at CEO and surprised everybody. He's got a really good Maya.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guess, yeah.
Man, another break. I would counter break right now. Ah, do it.
Yeah.
Do it, man. Just do it. Like I said, what's the worst that could happen? Your life bar or whatever.
Oh, he caught him backdashing there.
Yeah, that's smart stuff to use that for. Oh, no.
He
Counter break. Counter break. Oh.
This is not good. This could cost him the game.
Is it?
No. Maya's got instinct now. She has a bar meter.
Yo.
But she got to deal with
chip.
mix-ups.
He actually broke that. He walked forward into that heavy kick. American reset. One touch and he'll win. One touch with the potential damage that's on the...
Bird is not in play. He's going to get uppercutted.
He has one opener and he'll win. Is it going to be high or low?
What is he going to do?
Low.
Got 10 low. Oh, nice. That was super, super close.
All right. So, like I said before we watched that, Z-Train over 9000 came out at CEO and kind of took everyone by storm. Not to be funny, but you know, his Maya throughout the entire tournament ended up being incredible, and I think he played a couple other characters too, but Maya seemed to be the one that he was, you know, super good with. But I think there's only like upwards momentum for him.
Yeah, well, the piece right at the end, the up close, high or low, which is Saberwolf. I'll be fighting against Saberwolf later, I imagine. The same sort of idea of, if you're going to have a pressure game, can you make it part of this very quick move between a high and low hit? And it's, in that case, you know, they were almost calling for the loss. What's it going to be? High or low, and it's low, I mean, it's interesting that at the last second, you could say that he was guessing should he go high or low, but I seem to remember that as high, right at the end, low. So it's like he's doing the mind game, which is so great, especially when the pressure's mounting at the end of a fight.
What I liked about this one is that it shows that, you know, no matter how much life bar you have left, it's not over till it's over.
And he avoided the placement of all those tricky Eagle shenanigans.
So, all right, let's roll into the next one, please.
Bird is not in play. He's going to get uppercutted. Put something out there, but instead nothing came out.
And that reversal does do damage to Conrad, so you know that Jason really doesn't want to have to rely on that too much, but he's having a very difficult time just dealing with Nicky's, you know, pressure. And sails over at that time, gets the link on that one. This is going to be tough, but it is doable. That's a good start. No shadow counter, I'm not sure what that's about. Gets another curse. Yeah, Nicky's definitely going to DP in that kind of situation. Yep, one more time. Okay. This could be special. Nicky does have instinct, though, and Jason can't block anything. That might kill. Recap.
Oh!
Yes, gets it. Like we said, Nikki is a breaker extraordinaire. He is not afraid, and Jason finally calls it out.
Counterbreaker to win. Counterbreaker to win.
So you remember when I said that like every character is viable and it's not over till it's over? That was just like Conrad was what, half on his second life bar and took out the rest of Nikki's first one and his entire
Yeah, it's one combo from dead. Yeah. And again, right at the end, he's getting comboed. I mean, it's over. And you know, pop the counterbreaker and wow.
And Conrad's just really badass looking. I mean, it's a mummy. Like, what's not to love?
And we've seen that counterbreaker when you're on death to win the match.
Yeah.
You know, it's very here and there throughout the big tournament. So when you see it, it just brings us back to the meeting room where with Mike Willett and Dave V and the rest of us, and we're all like talking about counterbreaker and the fact that like, it would be just so hype. You know, if it was like someone, oh my God, why'd you do it? You threw the whole game away. Oh, you won. You know, so just.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Again, just being honest, the first conversation around counterbreaker, I'm like, you what? I mean, the whole idea of a combo breaker is that open auto double and finisher, I can stop the auto double, and if I'm locked out, you know, again, which is in that very first conversation, I was like, that's a bad idea. And then they walk through, and I'm like, that sounds really interesting. We should prototype it. And, you know, again, they literally were calling it hype, right? I mean, the first pitch was, we'll have this thing. It's called hype. Like, but we're already hype. Anyway, we should look at more clips.
The
but
last
counterbreaker was a huge add to the game. And it's good.
The last clip from
Very
CEO was by far my favorite one, I think, out of Combo Breaker and CEO. And you guys may know this guy, Base. He's kind of okay at the game. This match was incredible. Like, it came down to literally, you know, just whoever could get the last hit in. So let's go ahead and just remember, War Golems are a thing in KI, so we're going to see some...
Aganos.
Yep, we're going to see some Aganos here. Let's go.
On that jumping pizza cutter.
Yeah, I think he was definitely predicting a fireball right there. Acted a little premature.
And Latalis tried to use the heavy Peacemaker. It is slow.
Oh, no.
I really wish he had just thrown the Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it would have hit in that situation. He wanted to end a life on that one. Goes for the full screen ruin. It's not in time, and he has no chunks, so that's not great for him.
Base's tournament life is on the line right now. What's gonna happen?
That shadow counter, though, folks. This is not over. This is UA Base. Into hard knockdown. What's the mix-up?
Base is still in this.
And a reset. This is not good. Latalis does have instincts. If Base lets him get it. That is going to hit.
Okay.
Fantastic option there. He saw Base going in the air on that jump.
I mean, I don't know that there's a lot to say about that. Base is incredible. That could have easily gone either way. And if you watched CEO, you know, Latalis, you know, with his Aganos was great.
Second place, right?
Second place to Thompson.
Yeah. I mean, Aganos and General Rom, you know, like two big guys, two big boys. Again, this goes to the whole cast. Like, our top 8, our top 16s have some of the most diverse, you know, cast members in there as far as like it's different. It's not the usual suspects. You literally don't know.
You say Base
sometimes.
and, you know, you think, you know, Spinal.
Yeah.
He's very good Spinal, but then you've also got, you know, Shago, and just he seems to be comfortable with a lot of people. And then, you know, who expected an Aganos or a General Rum? So
I was like, yes.
Right? I thought it was really cool. So
just unbelievable.
Do we want to have you guys play a quick match, maybe?
Is there a PKC one?
You want to do those?
Yeah.
All right, we've got 3 quick community submitted ones. We'll do those first, and then we're going to watch Ken and James 1v1 each other because, you know, I think it's going to be funny and it's not me. So, hey. So let's go ahead and roll the first one from PCK. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
PK. Yeah,
I said it wrong, probably.
This is going to be the first community submitted one, so let's go ahead and roll this.
I just always say it wrong.
Oh, it's going to be a second. I think it's going to be a Rash, though. So, you know, if you like Battletoads, you may want to watch this one because... Who doesn't? Rash is so great. His taunt is the best in the game. Hands down.
Just,
yes. it makes the best gift, too. Like, how can you not? All right, here we go.
But that's going to be chip out.
And just like that, Loki's on tournament point. Nice, caught him with the Rekka. Breaks right away in the lights. Again, trying
overhead does not work. Heavy log out.
Loki paying full attention.
The grab. Oh no, instant cancel. Oh, he tried to reset. He just did not get that boot on time. The light kicks, trying to reset again. He caught him with those heavies. The light lockout. Oh, medium lockout. Shadow
Loki's
ramp.
going to town right now. One more throw.
And the recap.
That's it.
The Loki going to take it 3-0. Taunton. Infamy becoming your week 5 auto qualifier for our finale.
That's gonna land. That's trouble. Oh, he dropped it! Oh my God! He dropped it, but he's got instinct.
Keep him this game.
No. Oh, the hail's gonna land! The hail's breaking! He oh, dude!
Are you serious? Are you
Did you see that, man? A dropped ultra cost him, and he made it count.
Jumping over those fireballs, dash back into the DP, the grab.
Short little juggle. I don't know if it was the best idea to waste the meter there, because now he's got nothing to... Breaks immediately in the lights, catch them midair with fireball. Oh, and that was a bad risk to take with that dive kick.
Minion is out. Oh, the dive kick into the slide.
There's the stagger. Add a timing lockout. This is going to be big.
Yeah, good level 3 damage for Stilo. Fireball. He got hit by the minion, though. Instinct for wheels. Oh, we got juggles. We got the command grab. Adding on those knees. Oh, this could be shadowed. Oh, he didn't, though.
No shadow counter. Oh.
Well, I think he didn't want to. He caught him, though. That's going to be life bar. And
that's
Stilo.
game right there.
NWO Stilo tying it up 1-1.
All right, so in the interest of time, we went ahead and showed all 3 of the clips from PCK. Those were ones submitted by them. They were incredible. If you didn't know, all those tournaments are done online, so people live all over the country, if not the world.
Yes.
So they're not playing like here on the same network or anything. So the netcode in this game is incredible. It's very, it's pretty good.
It's one of the things that I'm most proud of the team for doing right all the way back to season 1. We talked early on about, hey, primarily, although we love the days of arcade and couch co-op or couch versus, most people now are playing online. What can we do? And lo and behold, the whole rollback setup, it just amazing. I mean, KI just feels the same.
And it allows us to do online tournaments with Ultra Tour support. We've supported multiple over the years with Zombie and 8-Bit. Larry's top 32 killers, and this is PCK's.
Yes, Pharaoh's combo killers.
Yes.
I always get them mixed up.
And that's running through October. Make sure you check. It's a free sign up each week. There's limited to 32 players, so get in early. If you don't sign up on time, you're on a waiting list. And yeah, $2,000 of the Ultra Tour money on the line. So get in there, get in the season, get your points, get into the finals.
All right. So Ken and James are going to go ahead and set up in a lobby real quick. Couple community questions for you. If you can give me a
rematch,
we're having technical.
No.
Was there a lot of Street Fighter influence that carried over to your designing of KI, or a little bit, maybe a lot?
Yes, in KI1,
Okay.
way more than Mortal Kombat. We didn't have a block button, and again, I like fireball motions, dragon punch motions. More importantly, though, I like the chess. That one of the things that I talked to him about that first trip, and it's been sort of the mantra all the way through, and I think all great fighting games do the same thing, that it's not about knowing how to do special moves. That's not what makes a fighting game great. It's also not about knocking over the table.
That's all James.
if you want to be okay at a fighting game, learn the moves, and you can go from okay to very good by learning when to do the moves. That's what makes a good fighting game, and that was what Street Fighter was.
All right. So you want to show them a good fighting game?
Let's go.
All right. Who's your favorite and who's your favorite character?
I would be Jago, pretty
How about
much
you? Who's your
always.
favorite?
I like Riptor.
All right. Oh, Riptor is my favorite. Little sassy
right.
dino.
We good?
All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and do a friendly.
Friendly. That's what you call it.
1v1.
Oh, I should have looked over at his controller.
So is that like screen watching?
Oh, don't you dare. Pull out the old card. My babies. Ah.
Oh. So James takes the first life bar.
Goodbye, meter. Ow. You know you want to counter.
No. No.
Always the TJ combo music from James.
The music in this game is incredible.
Oh, dang it. All that juicy damage.
Sonic Dolphin says you jump a lot.
Yeah. I'm playing Saber Wolf. What am I supposed to do, Sonic? There we go.
Nice.
All right.
Right to just like always. I think maybe that was where the adrenaline went that time. Mine was starting to kick in.
Mine went the wrong
So,
direction.
You made the little mistake.
Can we just, remind everybody how amazing the soundtrack for this game is too?
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
so good. All of it. So.
We have time for one more, or
I think you can do.
update?
I think you can probably do one more.
Oh, okay, fine.
We may have to leave this on a tie if that happens. That works for me.
Yeah, okay, that works.
That works for me.
Yeah, 2-0 works.
All right, rematch.
I'm jumping too much. Don't mind me.
Oh, this is bad.
That'll do.
Well then.
Oh. That was my Scoochie under.
Not getting any combo breakers here.
All the jumping.
Oh, I was thinking about it. Ah! Damage, 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 damage.
Oh.
Ah, you did that last time. I failed download. No! No, that was... Do it! Pounce on me! Tie. Good game.
Good game.
I totally failed on your stupid... I knew I shouldn't jump at Fireball because you were going to pounce. That was the one bit I downloaded in the first match, and then I adrenalined it.
All right.
All right.
So.
Still fun.
Is there anything we didn't cover that you guys think you want to shout out? We got a couple minutes left here.
Yes. Update.
Oh, right.
Patch
We have
coming.
some patch. We have a minor balance patch, guys. Nothing new. Just minor balance patch.
Minor. So, all right. First of all, thanks to everybody who gave us lots of feedback and lots of intel and information about what was going on during our unfortunate time where we were having online issues and bugs.
Right. Oh, that was, yeah.
Yeah, it's some stuff changed in the background. Wasn't so much KI as it was just trying to figure out what we need to adjust to, make it right. So everybody gave us tons of feedback. So now to the stuff that we were holding back during that.
Minor.
Yeah, minor. So combo breaker advantage time adjustments heavily demanded for Rash. No longer +9, now +1. Okay, Saber Wolf combo breaker advantage
Rash
time. No longer -7, now 0.
Is that why you used him now while you still can?
Yes. Well, this is good.
Oh, good.
This gives me more pressure.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong way.
Rash, light kick, auto double, shenanigans where you could just do any old manual you want afterwards because it's +9. Now it's the same as light punch, auto double. I think that's +2. It follows in the same rules, so that's good. So that is it.
And then our favorite, Awesome Aganos.
Okay, that is in review.
If anybody watched, I think it was CEO, Aganos somehow broke the screen and like frozen War Golem. It was great.
We know how to do it. No promises on that one. We're still looking at it. It's one of those ones where based on this timeline, we got to get this other stuff done. And then there's some Shadow Lords updates coming, which is fun. There's the quest chain that was broken that doesn't really block an achievement. We gave you another workaround, but it'll just make things easier. And in general, just there's something else we have that it doesn't affect it's not so much, it's nothing to do with new characters, new moves, nothing to do with balance. It's just a fun thing that is in test right now that people have suggested and we've thought about. I'm not going to talk about it. It's going to silently go out if it happens, and we'll see if people notice it.
All right.
And that is it. I hate to do the mystery thing, but this one is a necessary one.
It's a super minor thing, though. Nothing new.
Nothing
new. We told you. I mean, granted, I could have used better phrasing when I announced the stream. I apologize. I just got really excited that I would get to be on a stream with Ken and James and like, what is my life? So my bad on that, guys. I'll be better in the future. All right. Yeah, I don't know that there's a ton left. We got to see some really cool clips. Talked about how you guys met, like how you guys even got into fighting games and all that. So, yeah, I think that about does it for us. So we'll be here, just a reminder, every Tuesday at noon Pacific time, we'll be having this show. It'll be me and playing some game and somebody else. Next week is going to be our first Throwback Tuesday stream, so I'll probably be having some guests on to play possibly a back compat game or one of the original Xbox One launch titles yet. Haven't decided. When we have that, we'll announce it on the Microsoft Studios Twitter, so keep an eye on that for news on that. But since it is Tuesday, make sure you come back at 3 p.m. at mixer.com/tips and tricks, and Ethan and Malik will have something cool. Last week they had Gabby and everybody, and they did the adaptive controller, which is really cool, and I think will be really awesome to see how it works even for KI and other fighting games.
I need that. This hand?
Yep.
Getting grumpy.
So I don't know what they're talking about today. I didn't get told yet, but they'll be here. I'm sure it'll be awesome because they're great guys. So we look forward to seeing everybody for our stream next week. And in the meantime, have a happy Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Keep playing.